If you've been watching the House of David, you're probably asking the question, how tall actually is Goliath? Now I'm going to get there, but first I think it's really important for us to be reminded that the story of David and Goliath is actually intended to point us back to the difference between Saul and David. In other words, Goliath is actually a foil that is used intentionally to help us see the difference between trusting in God versus fearing in man. This actually is played out pretty significantly when you think that Saul is the one who's perfectly equipped to fight Goliath. When we're introduced to Saul, Saul is massive, he's huge, he's taller than all the other Israelites, and the text tells us in 1 Samuel that Saul has armor, which is pretty rare for the people of Israel during this time period. Not only that, he's got an iron sword, even more rare for the people of Israel. So of all the people who are equipped and ready and able to fight Goliath, it should have been Saul. But the text tells us that Saul is terrified. Why is he terrified? Interestingly, he's not necessarily terrified about the height of Goliath. He's actually terrified because Goliath has all of this war experience. What does David do? David is introduced to us as somebody who's handsome, but there's no indication that he's massively tall. There's no indication that he's incredibly strong. In fact, the opposite is indicated to us because he can't wear the armor of Saul, but there's one difference. David is trained. David's equipped. He's used to actually being out protecting the flock. David has had a season of preparation. And when David goes out to fight Goliath, his faith and his confidence is not in himself, but it's in Yahweh who gives him strength and who gives him courage. Now, exactly how tall is Goliath? Okay, the text says, the Masoretic text, the Hebrew text says that he was about 6 cubits and a span. But interestingly, the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls and even Josephus say that he was probably 4 cubits in a span. So which one? 6 cubits in a span is about 9 feet, 9 inches, right? 4 cubits in a span is about 6 feet, 9 inches. Well, how tall was Goliath? It's most likely that the shorter reading is more accurate because it's evidenced in more places. It's evidenced in the Septuagint, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and in Josephus's writings that he was 4 cubits in a span. Now, the average Israeli, based off of some scholars who have studied this time period, would have been about 5 feet. Now, think about that. If you're about 5 foot, if you're really tall, you're 5'3". I mean, and you see a 6'9"er? I mean, absolutely, you're terrified. So that's about how tall. Now, if you've got more questions, which I'm sure you do, I'm doing a limited time series on YouTube, and all you have to do is comment David in the comment section, and I'll send you a link to the YouTube series that's going to launch here in a couple of days. It's going to be basically like this. It's a conversation with the theologian, kind of thinking through what is factual, what is speculative, and some stuff that's just fictitious, but still fun.